Listen, listen. Let me tell you about Sister Ngozi, the woman everyone called Mother of the Poor. Big woman with a smile that could convince you to donate your last kobo. She ran the Community Welfare Center in Okbara town. And when I finish this story, you will understand why the poor people in her care remained hungry while her own children grew fat like Christmas turkeys. In the entire Okbara local government, there was no charity worker more respected than Sister Ngozi. When people spoke about her dedication, they would shake their heads in admiration and say, "That woman has a heart of gold." When government relief packages arrived, Sister Ngozi was there. When NGOs brought food donations, Sister Ngozi received them. When churches organized charity drives, Sister Ngozi coordinated everything. She was the gatekeeper of compassion, the distributor of hope, the bridge between the generous and the needy, or so everyone thought. Sister Ngozi knew she had power. She carried herself like a queen in her crisp Ankara outfits and matching head wraps. Her office at the Community Welfare Center was decorated with certificates of appreciation, photos with government officials, and plaques from various charitable organizations. On her desk sat a large ledger where she supposedly recorded every single donation that came in and every distribution that went out. She had two volunteers, Amara and Chinwe, young women from poor families who worked for free, hoping to learn community service and maybe get a recommendation letter someday. They followed Sister Ngozi around like shadows, carrying boxes, arranging supplies, and keeping their mouths shut about what they saw. But Sister Ngozi had a secret partner. His name was Obina, her husband's younger brother. Obina drove a battered Sienna van that could carry a lot of cargo. He was always available whenever donations arrived at the center. He would lurk around the corner, pretending to be making deliveries for his non-existent business, waiting for the signal. Now let me tell you Sister Ngozi's secret. The woman was a thief. Yes, I said it. A big professional thief dressed in charity's clothing. But she didn't steal money directly. No. Sister Ngozi stole food meant for widows, orphans, and struggling families. Bags of rice, cartons of noodles, tins of milk, vegetable oil, beans, everything meant for people who are suffering. She diverted half of it to her own home. If you asked her, she would place her hand on her Bible and say, "Stealing? Me? God forbid. I'm just keeping some aside for emergency cases that might come up later." Emergency cases. That's what she called feeding her own well-fed family. Let me paint a picture of how Sister Ngozi operated. The state government sent a truck full of relief materials to Okbara town during the rainy season when farming was difficult and many families were struggling. The donation included 200 bags of rice, 100 cartons of noodles, 50 gallons of vegetable oil, and bags of beans. The government official who delivered the supplies personally handed the inventory list to Sister Ngozi.
Sister Ngozi, this is for the registered vulnerable families in Okbara. Make sure it reaches them. The governor is very concerned about the welfare of our people. Sir, you can trust me completely. Every single item will reach those who need it most, Sister Ngozi assured him, her hand on her chest, her eyes full of fake sincerity. The moment the government truck drove away, Sister Ngozi's eyes sparkled with calculation. She turned to her volunteers. "Amara, Chinwe, help me move these things inside the storage room. We need to sort them properly before distribution." The girls began moving the supplies into the large storage room behind the center. Sister Ngozi watched them carefully, her mind already working. She had already texted Obina. "Big donation today. Come at 6 p.m. Back gate." By evening, when the center was supposed to be closed, Sister Ngozi sent her volunteers home early. Girls, you've worked hard today. Go home and rest. I'll finish the paperwork myself. But Sister Ngozi, shouldn't we help you record everything? Amara asked innocently. Sister Ngozi's smile tightened. Are you questioning me? I've been doing this work for 10 years. I think I know how to manage inventory. Or do you think I'm too old to write in a ledger? No, sister. Sorry, sister, both girls mumbled and hurried out. The moment they were gone, Sister Ngozi moved with surprising speed for a woman of her size. She opened the back gate where Obinna was waiting with his Sienna van, engine already running. Sister, what we carry today? Obinna asked, rubbing his hands together. Plenty, Obinna, plenty. Together, they began loading the van. 50 bags of rice gone into Obinna's van. 40 cartons of noodles disappeared. 25 gallons of oil vanished. Half of the beans gone. Sister, this van is full, oh. I need to go drop this one and come back for more, Obinna said, struggling to close the van door. No. One trip is safer. Take this to my house first, then to your house. Split everything 50-50 as usual. Obinna drove off into the night with half of the government's donation, leaving Sister Ngozi to rearrange the remaining supplies to make them look sufficient. The next morning, Sister Ngozi opened her ledger and wrote with her beautiful handwriting. Received from state government, 100 bags of rice, 50 cartons of noodles, 25 gallons of oil, half bag of beans. She had simply cut every number in half.
When distribution day came 3 days later, the registered vulnerable families lined up outside the Community Welfare Center. There were about 150 families, most of them widows with children, elderly people and disabled persons. Sister Ngozi stood at the distribution table with her warm smile, her Bible placed prominently beside her. Welcome, welcome, my brothers and sisters. God has remembered you. The government has sent supplies and we will distribute them fairly to everyone. But as the distribution began, people started noticing something was wrong. Sister Ngozi, I heard the government sent plenty rice. Why are we only getting one small cup per family? Asked Mama Chidi, a widow with 5 children. Sister Ngozi's face became serious. Mama Chidi, I have to tell you the truth. The truck that brought the supplies had an accident on the way. Many bags fell off and scattered on the road. We only received half of what was originally sent. That's why we are rationing carefully to make sure everyone gets something. The people believed her. Why wouldn't they? Sister Ngozi spoke with such conviction, such sadness for their plight. Plus, she was a church woman, a community leader. Surely she wouldn't lie. Even the noodles are small, someone else complained. My dear, even the government is struggling. They are doing their best. At least we got something. Let's thank God for small mercies, Sister Ngozi said, her hands raised to heaven. What those hungry people didn't know was that Sister Ngozi had gone home the previous night to find her storage room packed with government rice, noodles, oil and beans. Her 6 children jumped for joy. Mama, you brought rice again? We're eating jollof rice tonight. Her husband, Brother Emeka, never questioned where the supplies came from. He just smiled and patted his growing belly. Ngozi, you are a blessing to this family. God is using your position to provide for us. As for Obinna, he took his share to his own house, where his wife and 3 children celebrated like it was Christmas. Obinna, where did you get all this food? Asked his wife, though she never asked too seriously. The Lord provides, my dear. The Lord provides. This was Sister Ngozi's pattern. Every single donation, every single time, whether it came from government, NGOs, churches, or individual donors, she would receive it with grateful hands, document half of it in her ledger, and send the other half home with Obinna. Her excuses were legendary and creative. The delivery truck had an accident. We lost half the supplies. The rice bags were damaged by rain during transport. We had to discard half. Some of the items expired, so we couldn't distribute them. The donor miscounted. We received less than they claimed. Thieves broke into the storage room. We were robbed. And people believed her every single time because Sister Ngozi was so respected, so trusted. How could a woman who prayed so loudly in church, who quoted Bible verses while distributing aid, how could such a woman be a thief? Her volunteers, Amara and Chinwe, suspected something was wrong. They had seen Obina's van parked at the back gate too many times. They had noticed how the inventory numbers in the ledger never matched the delivery receipts they occasionally glimpsed, but they dared not speak up. One time, Chinwe tried to mention something. It was during a distribution of food items donated by an international NGO. Sister Ngozi, Chinwe whispered carefully, I counted 50 cartons of milk when they delivered yesterday, but the ledger says we received 25. Did I miscount? Sister Ngozi turned slowly, her eyes hard despite her smile. Chinwe, dear, did I hire you to audit my work? Do you know how many years I've been managing this center? Are you trying to say I'm dishonest? No, sister, I just thought. Exactly, you thought. But this is not a thinking position. This is a doing position. You do what I tell you and leave the management to me. Unless you want to go back to your mother's house and continue selling akara by the roadside. No, sister, I'm sorry. Good. Now go and help Amara arrange the distribution table. Chinwe never questioned the numbers again. Neither did Amara. They would just watch silently as Obina's van would be parked suspiciously at the back gate, and they would pretend not to notice when Sister Ngozi sent them on errands at strategic times. Obina had perfected his role. Sometimes he would dress as a delivery man, complete with a fake company uniform. Other times, he would pretend to be a waste collector, coming to pick up empty cartons and bags, except his truck would leave full, not empty. One time, during a major distribution event organized by a foreign charity, Obina came dressed as a representative from another NGO. He walked confidently into the compound carrying a clipboard. Good afternoon. I'm from Help International. We heard about your distribution today. We want to partner with you for our next program, he announced loudly. Sister Ngozi played along perfectly. Oh, welcome, welcome. Yes, we're always happy to collaborate. Come, let me show you our storage facility so you can see how we operate. She led him to the back, and while everyone was busy with the distribution in front, Obina loaded 5 large cartons of donated items into his official vehicle and drove away while people thought he was leaving to report back to his organization. Sister Ngozi was so proud of that particular operation that she gave Obina extra yam and palm oil from her personal stash. You see, Obina, this is why I work with you. You have sense, not like these useless volunteers who think they're clever. Now let me tell you about Sister Ngozi and Obina's arrangement. They didn't sell the stolen items, no. They kept everything for their families to eat and use. Sister Ngozi had 6 children at home, and her husband's extended family often came to greet them, which meant coming to collect rice and oil. Every week, Sister Ngozi would host her husband's family for Sunday lunch, and the table would be overflowing with food that was meant for orphans and widows. Rice, beans, chicken stew, everything. Sister Ngozi, your husband is truly blessed to have you. How do you manage to provide such feasts on a community worker's salary? Her sister-in-law would ask. My dear, it's all about good management and God's favor. When you fear God and serve people, He opens doors of provision, Sister Ngozi would reply, serving more stolen rice. Her children grew plump and healthy, while the children of the families registered at the welfare center remained thin and hungry. Mama, my friend Ada is here at school. Her mother is registered at your center. She says they only get 1 cup of rice every month. Is that true? Her daughter asked. Don't mind those people. They're exaggerating. I give them plenty. They're just ungrateful, Sister Ngozi snapped. But deep inside, even Sister Ngozi's children were beginning to notice something was wrong. They weren't stupid. They could see her mother bringing home bags of rice stamped government relief or cartons marked donation, not for sale. Life was sweet for Sister Ngozi and Obina.
They had perfected their system. They had never been caught. They thought they were untouchable. But then came Mrs. Okafor, the new volunteer from the city. Mrs. Okafor had just returned from abroad where she had worked with several international charities. She had retired and moved back to her hometown wanting to give back to the community. When she heard about the Community Welfare Center, she volunteered her services. Sister Ngozi was initially reluctant to accept her. Madam, thank you for your interest, but we already have enough volunteers.
Oh, I don't mind. I'm not looking for any position. I just want to help. I have experience with NGO work and I can volunteer just a few hours a week, Mrs. Okafor insisted with a kind smile. Sister Ngozi couldn't refuse without seeming suspicious, so she reluctantly agreed. Okay, ma, you can come on distribution days to help. The first red flag came during Mrs. Okafor's first week. A large donation arrived from a church coalition, 50 bags of rice, 30 cartons of noodles, 20 gallons of oil. Mrs. Okafor, being organized and trained, immediately suggested, Sister Ngozi, should we take photos of the supplies for documentation? It's standard practice to have visual records. Sister Ngozi's heart skipped. Photos? That would ruin everything. Ah, Mrs. Okafor, no need for all that. We're a small community center, not an international organization. We just write in the ledger. That's enough. But sister, visual documentation helps with accountability and can even help us attract more donors. Let me just take a few photos with my phone. Before Sister Ngozi could object, Mrs. Okafor had snapped several photos showing clearly all 50 bags of rice arranged in the storage room, the cartons of noodles stacked high, and the gallons of oil lined up. Sister Ngozi felt sweat forming on her forehead despite the cold weather. That evening, when Sister Ngozi tried to send Mrs. Okafor home early like she did with the other volunteers, Mrs. Okafor smiled pleasantly and said, "Oh no, sister, I have time. Let me stay and help you with the paperwork. Many hands make light work." Sister Ngozi's carefully laid plan was crumbling. She texted Obinna frantically, "Don't come today. Problem." Obinna replied, "But sister, what about the goods?" "I said don't come." The next day, when distribution began, Mrs. Okafor stood beside Sister Ngozi at the table, watching everything with sharp eyes. She had her phone with her, the photos of the supplies clearly visible. As families came to collect their rations, Mrs. Okafor frowned. Each family was receiving 1 cup of rice, 1 pack of noodles, and a small bottle of oil. After about 30 families had been served, Mrs. Okafor quietly said, "Sister, can I speak with you privately for a moment?" They stepped aside. "Sister, I took photos of 50 bags of rice yesterday. Each bag is about 50 kg. That's 2,500 kg of rice total. There are 150 registered families. Even if we give each family 10 kg, we would use only 1,500 kg. But we're giving each family less than 1 kilogram. Where is the rest of the rice?" Sister Ngozi's mouth went dry. "Ah, Mrs. Okafor, you don't understand. We have to keep some in reserve for emergency cases." "Emergency cases? Sister, these people here are the emergency cases. They are starving. And what about the ledger? I checked it this morning. It says we received only 25 bags of rice, but I counted and photographed 50 bags yesterday." Sister Ngozi's face hardened. "Mrs. Okafor, I don't like what you are insinuating. Are you calling me a thief?" "I'm not calling you anything, sister. I'm just asking questions about discrepancies. This is standard accountability practice." The two women stared at each other. The atmosphere was tense. That night, Sister Ngozi called an emergency meeting with her pastor and some church elders, claiming that Mrs. Okafor was causing trouble and making false accusations. But Mrs. Okafor was not intimidated. She had dealt with Charity Front before in her international work. She knew the patterns. The next day, she quietly visited some of the families who had been receiving aid from the center. "Mama Chidi, can I ask you something? How much rice do you usually get during distribution?" "Sister, we get 1 small cup,
sometimes half cup. Sister Ngozi always says the donations are small. And how long have you been registered at the center? 3 years now. Mrs. Okafor visited 10 more families. Same story. Tiny rations despite large donations. Then, she did something clever. She contacted the government official who had delivered the last donation and asked for a copy of the delivery manifest. She also reached out to the church coalition that had sent the recent supplies. Every single delivery manifest showed double or triple the amount that appeared in Sister Ngozi's ledger. Armed with evidence, Mrs. Okafor went to the local government chairman's office. "Sir, I need to report serious irregularities at the Community Welfare Center." She showed him the photos, the manifest, the ledger entries, the testimonies from families, everything. The chairman's face grew dark with anger. "This woman has been stealing from the poor, from widows and orphans?" "Yes, sir, and I believe she's not working alone. There is a man with a Sienna van who's always around during deliveries." The chairman ordered an immediate audit of the Community Welfare Center. A team arrived unannounced the next morning with police officers. Sister Ngozi was in her office when they walked in. Her face went pale. "Sister Ngozi, we are here to conduct an audit. Please open your storage room and provide all records from the past 2 years." But I wasn't informed about this. This is irregular." "What's irregular is that your ledger shows you received 25 bags of rice last week, when the government manifest clearly shows we delivered 50 bags. Now, open the storage." The storage room was opened. It was half empty, just as Mrs. Okafor had predicted. "Sister Ngozi, where are the other 25 bags of rice?" Sister Ngozi tried to think fast. They were damaged. We had to throw them away." "All 25 bags? That's 1,250 kilograms of rice. Show us where you threw them away." The disposal company took them." "Which disposal company? Show us the receipt." Sister Ngozi had no receipt. The audit team then went to Sister Ngozi's house. They found her storage room packed with bags of rice stamped "Government Relief," cartons of noodles marked "Donation," and gallons of oil labeled "Not for Sale, NGO Distribution." Her husband, Brother Emeka, tried to explain. We bought these from the market." "You bought government relief materials from the market? These are not for sale. Show us the receipts for your purchase." There were no receipts. The team then tracked down Obina. His house told the same story. Storage rooms full of donated items. Both Sister Ngozi and Obina were arrested. The news spread through Okpara town like wildfire. "Sister Ngozi the thief, the woman we trusted. She's been stealing food from widows and orphans. My children were hungry while her children were eating food meant for us." At the police station, Sister Ngozi finally broke down and confessed everything. The years of stealing, the partnership with Obina, the false ledger entries, the creative excuses. I just wanted to take care of my family," she sobbed. "By starving other people's families?" the police officer asked coldly. The story made local news. Charity worker caught stealing relief materials meant for vulnerable families. Sister Ngozi and Obina were charged with theft and fraud. They both lost their reputations, their freedom, and their standing in the community. Mrs. Okafor was appointed as the new manager of the Community Welfare Center. She immediately implemented proper accountability systems, photographic documentation of all donations, digital inventory tracking, transparent distribution witnessed by community representatives, and regular audits. The first distribution under Mrs. Okafor's management shocked everyone. When 50 bags of rice arrived, all 150 families received generous portions. There were even leftovers. Mama Chidi wept as she carried her 10 kg bag of rice home.
Sister, this is the first time in 3 years that we are getting this much. God bless you. Don't thank me, Mrs. Okafor said gently. Thank God that the truth came out. This is what you should have been getting all along. As for Amara and Chinwe, the former volunteers, they were relieved. They had wanted to speak up for so long but were afraid. We knew something was wrong, they told Mrs. Okafor, but we were scared. We needed the experience and she threatened to blacklist us. You should have spoken up, Mrs. Okafor said kindly but firmly. Silence in the face of injustice makes you complicit. Remember that for the future. Sister Ngozi spent 6 months in prison. When she was released, she returned to Okpara a broken woman. Nobody greeted her warmly anymore. Her church asked her to step down from all positions. Her husband divorced her, ashamed of the scandal. Her children, who had grown fat on stolen food, now faced the stigma of being the thief's children at school. One day, Mama Chidi saw Sister Ngozi at the market, looking thin and dejected. Despite everything, Mama Chidi walked up to her. Sister Ngozi? Sister Ngozi couldn't meet her eyes. I'm sorry, Mama Chidi. I'm so sorry for everything. I forgive you, Mama Chidi said quietly, but you need to understand what you did. My children went to bed hungry many nights. We struggled to survive, and all that time you had food that was meant for us sitting in your house. You didn't just steal food, you stole hope from people who had almost nothing. Sister Ngozi wept. For the first time, she truly understood the weight of her crime. The Community Welfare Center thrives today under Mrs. Okafor's management. Every bag of rice reaches its intended recipient. Every gallon of oil feeds a struggling family. Every donation fulfills its purpose. And somewhere in town, in a small rented room, Sister Ngozi works as a cleaner, trying to rebuild her life from the bottom, learning the hard way what it means to truly have nothing. The moral of the story? When you are put in charge of helping the vulnerable, remember that they are watching. God is watching, and eventually someone like Mrs. Okafor will come along who knows how to count. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe. And remember, charity work is sacred. Handle it with integrity. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe now for more real-life stories that will shock you. Hit that subscribe button because the next story might be even more dramatic than this one.